Yo boys, back with another video. Today we're going to be doing the good old-fashioned 2v2 tier list. A lot of people have been messaging me on Discord, and now they always ask me what's the meta, what's the best classes. Well, now after the nerfs, so I did see the nerfs. If you looked at my other video, I put a class changes out, even though it might not do good on views. It's at least out there so people know. But that's pretty much that. So there's a little bit of new changes. So Frost Mage got a nerf, Enhance got a buff, and Destro got a buff. But in 2v2 wise, a lot of classes are going to be the same. And I'll basically explain how they're going to be the same here. I'm not doing tanks, so let's get them out of the way real quick. I should probably do that like preemptively, before the video, but it doesn't really take much time. Alright, so the first class we're going to be going over is going to be Warrior. Arms Warrior is going to be S tier, and the reason it's S tier, Arms Warrior Restored and Fury Warrior Restored will be the best comp in the game. It's been the best comp in the game. Not Fury Warrior, for example, it hasn't, but Arms Warrior Restored, even if Arms Warrior isn't God tier, it automatically just dampens everything in twos, and the highest rated players in twos are always a Restored, and it's a Arms Warrior, or it's a some type of warrior. So, um, my dog's in the bag, by the way. I'm not really gonna, but yeah, that's pretty much that. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Fury Warrior. It's going to be S tier as well. So both, I think Fury Warrior is actually going to be better than Arms Warrior. So it's going to be pretty goated. Even it's doing unhealable damage. Their blade storms are literally soloing. If you saw I don't know what his YouTube is, but I'll have it in the description if you want to check it out because he's good. Fury Warrior is doing unhealable damage, just an unhealable amount of damage. Arms Warrior doing really good as well. Both specs are doing very well. I think it's like Mudcx or something. I'll have it in the. I'll make sure I look at it, and you guys can go look at his Warrior content or whatever. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Assassination Rogue, pretty much. Assass is also going to be S tier. It's apparently doing really good in Battlegrounds, so I assume you're going to see a lot of Assassination Rogues in twos, and that's pretty much that. Sub Rogue is going to be A tier. Sub Rogue really relies off the mage, pretty much. So you can't really play sub healer unless unless you maybe you maybe can make it work, but it's like I don't think it's going to be very good. All three specs of mage are mid, and it's just going to be pretty much you either win in the opener or lose. Pretty much how it's been. It's pretty much not going to be set up comp based anymore. Outlaw is going to be B tier. Just doesn't do any damage. Has good comps it can play, but it just doesn't do anything. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Mage. Frost Mage in 2v2 Arena. After its Ice Lance nerf, it'll probably be. Thing is, it really depends on like I don't know how much damage it does off of Ice Lance because it did get a massive nerf on Ice Lance, but like, is that enough? Because like I don't remember like hearing their glacials or frost bombs doing anything. So um yeah, I don't think it's gonna do very good in twos. The only comp this is gonna have is Rogue Mage, and if it's an Ice Lance spam, it's just not gonna work. Um, so unless there's like a build that you can do like super big frost bolts or something like that, I just don't see it working. You have pretty much one comp you could play. It's gonna be okay, but at least Sub Rogue is doing really good right now. It's at least you can actually at least kill something, so you can at least make it work. But as Frost Mage, you're just gonna struggle. It's not gonna be fun. You're not gonna have a good time, and that's pretty much that. You're not really gonna see Frost Mages in twos. Let's be honest. Unless it's like the rare rogue mages or like maybe a rogue or like a mage disc priest. I don't know, just something like that. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be fire mage. Now, the reason I'm going to be putting fire mage at A tier, it got a 5 or 8% buff on its pyroblast, which is actually it really needed it. So I think honestly it's going to be A tier, and the only reason I'm putting this A tier is because the comp basis is going to be rogue mage. So rogue mage is automatically going to be A tier. It's not. It's. I don't think it's quite at S tier yet because S tier is just gonna slaughter everything. Like your fire mage is gonna die quick, so this is gonna be like a two goes type of thing. I think it's gonna be good. I don't think it's gonna be insane, but it's gonna be good. So, I think it's okay. So these are gonna be low. Like fire mage is gonna be low A for sure. So again, this could also be B tier just because, you know, actually I'm gonna put it at B tier now that I changed my mind. I forgot that mage still dies in 2 seconds, and nobody's dying in 2 goes when they have unlimited cooldowns. So that's unfortunate. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Lock. The problem with Lock, again, it's so dampening that you're just going to face a melee and you're just not going to stand a chance. That's the problem with casters in 2s. 2v2 arena is only melee. It's never been caster. The only caster that ever stands a chance in 2v2 arena is mage. The problem is mage right now is really the only spec that's viable is frost mage, and it's based off ice lances. You need burst. The only way those comps work is if it's burst. So Affylock's gonna be B tier. It's really not. It's just gonna struggle. You're gonna face a warrior or assassination rogue, and you're gonna get absolutely slaughtered. Maybe I'll put it at A just for now, just because its damage is looking pretty nice, and it can work. You can do like Residue to Affylock and damp people out, and you know it could work. But as far as I know, it's not gonna be goated or nothing. Destro Warlock, I think is honestly going to be A tier as well. It did get it also got buffed, so I assume it's going to be doing a lot more damage. I think it was like 5 or 8%. I don't really remember the number specifically, but it did get a buff, so you never know. They were already, and they're an insta-cast spec pretty much now, other than obviously their Chaos Bolts, but that's pretty much that. So I think they're going to be good, just like Sub Rogue. They're going to be able to, you can make it work, but it's not going to be like, oh, well, I'm playing this class, so I'm going to absolutely slaughter you. No, that's like Fury Warrior, Assassination Rogue. Those classes are going to go in, bleed everything, and just kill everything. And this is it's going to be you're going to struggle. Next spec that we're going to be going over is Demo Lock, which is going to be B tier. Demo is just a control spec, and control specs it's like an AUG kinda, but like in the terms of CC, it's like a sub rogue pretty much, but it's caster. If you do healer or DPS, it's really not going to be fun. You're not going to enjoy it. I wouldn't recommend it at all. You're gonna never get a cast off. You're gonna be running the entire time, and the same thing as every other caster here. The only caster that stand a chance are ones that can do big damage without having to play the game really. Next one that we're gonna be going over is going to be Shaman. Enhancement Shaman is gonna be A tier in my mind. After the buff they receive, it's gonna be a Fury Warrior pretty much that has Elemental Blast that got buffed by I think 12%. So just imagine a sub rogue enhanced with consistent damage. So a sub rogue with consistency. That's pretty much what this is. So I think it's gonna be A tier, and it's gonna be really good. You'll start seeing these guys, and they're gonna pump because they got a humongous buff on their main abilities. So you're gonna see them 100%, guaranteed. You're gonna see these guys. I don't think they're S tier, but they're definitely gonna be good. I just mark my words on this. They're gonna be good. They're not gonna be insane, but they're gonna be good, and they may even be insane. Who knows? Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Restless Shaman. Restless Shaman is going to be high A as well. You can make it work. I think the best healers for, you know, S tier is going to be, whenever we get there. But next bit that we're going to be going over is going to be Ellie. Ellie, again, is going to just struggle. Casters in 2v2 arena, you're just going to get trained unless you're able to, they also got their damage nerfed again. So on top of the nerf that they received, I'm pretty sure they got a 6% nerf on every ability. So yeah, it's pretty much like a fire mage or a frost mage. You can play it, but you're just gonna die. You're not gonna enjoy it. These are not really specs that you're gonna enjoy in 2v2, and they're not really that good. Again, frost mage, fire mage, you can make these work. These could be low A, but I just don't think it. Like after the ice lance, like it's just too based off Ice Lance, and Ice Lance is like you need pure burst with a sub rogue, and that's the only comp you can play. So that I'm sticking to my word here. Next fight that we're gonna be going over is going to be Evoker. Dev Evoker is gonna be in the same spot as um where do I want to put Dev Evoker actually? Um I don't know yet. I'm gonna put it low A. I don't know how much burst it's doing right now, but I think it got a buff. Um, I'm saying a lot, but I'm trying to like think because I don't want to be wrong about it, but I can't really be 100%. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be really good. Now, will you see them every game? No, but I think they're still doing enough pressure to where if you see these guys, you're not gonna just be like, oh, I'm gonna destroy this guy. It's like, oh, well, this guy may be able to CC me and kill me. Like it's like a sub rogue that casts. Next one we're going to be going over is AUG. Obviously, AUG's not going to be fun. It's going to be garbage. Don't try it at home. And these are not in order, by the way. These are just B tier. So these are like high B, maybe low A as well. And then these are just B, like low B. So just keep in mind, these could be low A. They could be. So like this, low A, low A. So I think I'm going to put it there, actually. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Priest. Disc Priest. Let's see. How do I feel about Disc Priest here? I think Disc Priest is going to be S tier. I don't think it's going to be better than Residrude, but I think it's Disc Priest, the entire game, or the entire expansion, you've always seen a Disc Priest. It's been Disc Priest and Residrude. That's it. And then you occasionally fight other healers, but those are the main healers you face. Because Disc Priest is super hardcore with their utility, and they're really easy to just, they have damage, they have everything you really need. So I think it's going to be Disc Priest and Residrude at S tier. So for now, I'm going to keep it there. Because you're going to see these guys, I guarantee it. Every other game, if not every game. Other than like Residrude. But next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Holy Priest. It's going to be really bad. We don't really have to talk about it. It needs defensive cooldowns, and Blizzard just doesn't understand. You have to actually play your game to understand what people are complaining about, and they just haven't decided to fix any of these specs. Next spec that we're going to be going over is going to be SP, which is also going to be just really bad. You're just going to get a melee that just sits on top of you. You're going to be forced to cast. You're going to get kicked. You're going to get stunned. You're going to get incapped. You're going to get knocked. You're going to get tremored on your fear, on your stun. It's going to get dispelled. And it's just, you're going to get grounded. It's like, you're just never getting to play your class as a caster. Unless you're able to, once you get your bleeds up, they need to be able to stay up. So like Affilog and Destro, they don't really cast. Fire Mage, Frost Mage, they don't really cast. They just do their go on stuns, and then they run. As an SP, there is no running. There is tanking damage. Next pick that we're going to be going over is going to be Hunter, which is actually going to be pretty good. You're going to see Sub Rogue, Disc Priest, and that's pretty much that. Hunter is that one spec, especially in all of last expansion, that you saw a lot. Now, they may not be doing as much burst as they were, but you're going to see these guys. is a very easy spec to play. And defensively, obviously, you have to play somewhat good. But, yeah, MM's going to be good. It's definitely going to be good. It's going to be, like, up, it's probably, like, below enhancement, but, like, maybe in the middle. And that's pretty much that. Next plate that we're going to be going over is Survival Hunter, which I think is going to be around the same area, possibly. So, around here, maybe a little bit lower, so, like, medium A tier, low A, somewhere in the middle. I don't think it's as good as, like, Sub Enhance, because Enhancement's going to be, it should be God tier. It should be goated. It got a huge, if you guys seen the buffs, it's like, I think it was like 30% or 60% or something on their main abilities. It's going to be insane, or it should be insane. Elemental Blast, it should just be destroying things. Next fight that we're going to be going over is going to be Paladin. HPAL is obviously going to be B tier. The overall healing, you're just going to get out-healed by, or out-manned and out-healed by everything. Other than like Holy Priest and stuff, but like Residrude and Disc Priest are just gonna absolutely destroy you, farm you. Unless you're very good, that's the exception, but otherwise it's just not gonna be fun for you. Next fight that we're gonna be going over is Ret Paladin. As far as I know right now, Ret Paladin isn't doing that great. So I think Ret's not gonna be very good, at least for right now. It just really isn't really good ever in twos. Because 2s is all about melee. It's all about huge burst and then huge AoE burst. As a Ret Paladin, not only are you just going to be sitting there getting absolutely trained by one warrior or assassination rogue or an enhance or something like that, but you're not able to move your character and you're forced to go. It's just not going to be fun, I guarantee it. You'll see these guys very rarely. They're good, maybe, possibly. Maybe they get a buff. But like the only time these guys were ever good 2v2 is when they were one-shotting with 1 minute wings. That's the only time they really were shining in 2v2 arena. The next spec that we're going to be going with is going to be Hunter. Or we already did Hunter, but BM Hunter here is going to be the same spot I pretty much assassinate or a survival hunter. It just does consistent damage. It's a fun spec to play. It's around where the casters are pretty much, except it doesn't have to actually cast, and it does really good damage. So I think it's gonna be pretty good. Like between MM and BM, you're gonna see these specs a good amount of time. Mainly just MM because nobody really wants to play BM or Survival Hunter. They kind of just want to, oh, I want to sit this guy. And I don't know which one's better, but I think Survival is a little bit better than BM. But these guys are like low mid A, so keep that in mind. MM is probably towards higher, and these guys are towards lower. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be DK. As far as I know, DK is going to be S tier. You're going to see a lot of these guys. Now, the main issue is these guys counter this guy really hard. If you guys don't know, DK Warriors have countered DKs for the long since the game was born. Since DK has ever existed, these guys will just, if you do a healer warrior versus a healer DK, the warrior's most likely gonna win. So it's gonna be really good. You're gonna see a lot of unholy DKs, especially in twos. So yeah, keep that in mind. Next one that we're gonna be going over is going to be Windwalker. Windwalker, it's probably going to be a little bit lower on this list. So around Survival Hunter, again, these aren't in order, but once we're past here, this is lower. So past this line here, so MM's a little bit higher. Survival and below here is lower. So this is going to be playable. You can make it work, and that's pretty much it. These are not in order at the low A's. So just keep that in mind. When you see this, it's not, I'm not saying Windwalker is better than Frostmage or Windwalker is better than Amphilock. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying they're low A. So let's just make sure we get that solid. Maybe next time I need to make an actual low A so people understand. Because some people just watch my videos on mute and then they literally just, what? You put this here. You put this before this. So just make sure you actually listen to the video. Or if somebody comments that, somebody needs to, keep it straight with them. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Pharaoh Druid. It did get an immense bleed build. I think it's going to be insane. So they kind of nerfed. They're kind of making it towards a bleed build. That's exactly what Pharaoh Druid is. Pharaoh Druid was never a bite burst build. It was always a bleed build. For the longest time, it's been based on bleeds, and then all of a sudden they tried to make it into like some sub rogue. Now I'm fine with Pharaoh Druids doing bites, but like doing it consistency and making that entire spec based off of bites is just dumb. I think it's gonna be really good though. So somewhere around here. It's high A. I don't really know where to put it, but I know it's gonna be good. You're gonna see these guys because they're gonna be doing an immense amount of bleed damage. It's pretty much like an assassination rogue with bear form and CC. Pretty much an assassination rogue at that point. Next one that we're gonna be going over is going to be DK. So we already kind of did DK, but whatever. Frost DK is just gonna be really bad. 2v2 arena is all about consistency and being able to keep up with pressure. This is a burst spec specific, so it's not going to do very well. You can't really play double DPS in 2v2 arena, and you can make it work. I don't think it's going to be very good. Next spec is going to be Arcane, same thing. You can make it work, I feel like, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to like make it balanced here because if the class is if the class is semi good, then I need to put it at low A. So like it could be here, like low A past because you could play Arcane Sub Rogue, you could play Fire Mage Sub Rogue, and you could play front, and these can all be good comps. And that technically would say that this would be an A tier spec because if it has a comp it can play, that means it is solid. It doesn't matter if it had no comps to play and it was like, yeah, it's not very good, then it would be B tier. But yeah, I think it's low A, very low. Same thing with all three specs of mage. You'll see them rarely with a sub rogue, but other than that, you're not really gonna see them. And these are not in order. If I were to put this in order, it'd probably go like this. Since Fire Mage got buffed, I think Frost Mage is gonna be a tiny bit better, just because it did get nerfed, but it's still gonna be a tad better. I think Fire needed like a 20% buff on their Power Blast, to be honest. Like their burst needs like an immense amount of damage to be able to be useful when they're dying in 2 globals. Next spec that we're gonna be going over is gonna be Boomy. Same thing. It's gonna be low A. Um, Boomy, it did get a massive buff, so it could be around where MM is. So we're gonna put it right here. And just because, personally, I think their damage is gonna be insane. I think it's the one exception where they're gonna have good damage. Like they usually just have, they have a little bit of damage and then they're just bursting. But I think now they'll have enough burst to where it's like it's actually scary. Like it's like, oh, they burst. I'm dying in like 3 globals, and I need to actually click something or I'm dead. I think they're going to be pretty solid. I think they're kind of in the mid A, low A because they did get they got a lot of buffs, like a lot. They were already doing really good damage. Now, you know, that's pretty much that. I don't think it's going to be God tier like S tier, but I think it's going to be actually good. It's not bad at all. I think it's going to be definitely better than like Windwalker and Survival Hunter and these other specs here, just because it got a massive buff and it's looking good. Rest of Druid's going to be S tier with Disc Breeze. Pretty much the two healers you're going to see every time. DH, um, I don't know about DH. I don't. It hasn't gotten any buffs. It hasn't gotten any nerfs. I don't know what's going on with DH. I really don't. But I think right now, if I had to put it somewhere, it'd probably be in front of Boomy, because DH is always that spec that just it's always just there. It might be a little bit. I just don't know where to put it. I think I'll just put it here. It's like mid A. Even if it's not the best, I think just DH in general, even as long as it does a little, if as long as it can keep up with damage, it's good. So I think it's gonna be good because it's a melee. Melees are usually good, like in general here. Like you can see all the casters and other than like Rhett and DK. Mistweaver, it did get a buff, so I think it's gonna be with a little bit below. Mm, if I had to put this somewhere, where would I put it? I think it's gonna be high A, but the problem is uh, I mean its orb did get buffed, so I think it's gonna be pretty solid. So I think it's probably in front of Shaman, maybe. I don't know. These are kind of just the same. These can both work. So I think they're both good. I think they're both going to be good. Same thing with a Prez Evoker. So I think you can play any healer you want other than H-Bound Holy Priest, and it can make it work. But I think the best healers are going to be Residruid, Disc Priest, and possibly Prez Evoker. So, mm, okay, fine. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Don't be mad. Don't be mad at me. I'm not 100%. I haven't really seen much gameplay of Prez Evoker, but based on what I've heard and other, watched, it's gonna be it's gonna be the third spec you're gonna see a lot. So it's gonna be Residue, Disc Priest, then Prez Evoker, and then you're gonna see these other specs. If I'm wrong with this, make sure you let me know in the comments, because obviously this is my personal opinion. This is based off what we'll see in the future, because the buffs don't come in until Tuesday, I'm pretty sure. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Let me know what you guys think about it. If you want to buy carries or coaching, let me know in the personal Discord. I'll have Mud's YouTube, so you can check out his videos, because he did upload a video like 2 days ago of his warrior. And he was like, warrior does unhealable damage. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Peace, guys.